So it's the Olympics again, educational Pwnage round, and from the start I've already lost. A key concept in education is that your target audience has the capability of actually learning something, but I've gone and chosen to respond to our all-time favourite babbling bespectacled git wizard Nephilim Free. Another key concept for an educator to abide by is caring about their pupils' progression and understanding, and yet it's patently obvious by now to most of you who've been following my videos that Nephilim's opinion on anything is about as worrying to me as an Albanian scratching his arse in a large crowd, i.e. not fucking very. So I've likely already thrown that first prize out of the metaphorical window, but let's carry on anyway in the hopes that at least someone will learn something, and Nephilim will have something to ignore or take out of context or twist my words. So in preparation, let's drop my scientific trousers and twist this, motherfucker!
Readers Escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
Right here, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now, right here.
So the disciplinary feet Nephilim has been treading on belong this time to the field of anatomy, which is essentially the study of biological
form and structure,
as Nephilim so eloquently puts it. So let's first find us someone with some knowledge of anatomy to contribute to this video. Thank you, that was very necessary. Anyway, yes, I possess a degree in anatomy and can therefore slap you silly from my informed position of knowing what the bloody hell I'm talking about, something you can only achieve when talking about bullshit. Let's then talk about morphology, and as everyone knows, you can't talk about morphology without talking about the Power Rangers. So for the purposes of this education video, and keeping down with the kids, I shall forego my alter ego and reveal my true identity as the Red Ranger. How fucking cool am I? Not like that shitty green one. Get a haircut, you nonce. Nephilim could be the freaky blue guy. Right then, morphology refers to form and structure as Nephilim enjoys repeating, but he particularly loves the and bit when it's about as integral to the morphology concept as it is in saying direction refers to north and south. Indeed, the way Nephi would frame this would be to say you can't change direction unless you turn both left and right, which is obviously absurd since either would involve changing the way you're going, but Nephi seems left in the middle of the road with 3 flat tyres and his steering wheel broken off. What are form and structure then? Form considers the actual shape, size, colour, generally what the thing looks like, whereas structure deals with the object on a more organisational level, such as what components are working together to create the object, what tissues interact to build the organ, etc, etc. Let's take an example. What's my favourite bone? Femur, obviously. Look at it, it's brilliant. So femoral form indicates its shape, so we can talk about the long bit, the round bits and the knobbly bits. We can also discuss how big it is. Structurally, we can see how the femur is made up of different organisations of bone. So in the compact bone, we've got layers or lamellae of bone-forming rings, whereas in cancellous or spongy bone, the bone forms into trabeculae, a web-like network with bone marrow in the gaps. So how can we change the form of a bone? Well, the most obvious method would be to take a whacking great big iron pole and give it a good hard smack, and that'll do the job nicely. You'll note how the shape of the bone is now changed somewhat. It's now got these lovely pointy sticky outy bits. Changing the structure of the bone is more subtle. Remodelling of bony tissue happens all the time. For example, to compensate for changes in stress levels to any area. There are also many pathologies that involve changes in the bone, such as osteoporosis and osteopetrosis, which involve decreasing or increasing bone density. So any of these can affect the morphology of a bone, but I can go one better and provide a process where a bone changes both structurally and in form, thus providing Nephi with this personal holy grail of morphology. In mammalian embryos, bones aren't even made of bone, they're made of cartilage, and through a process of ossification, they gradually calcify from the cartilage model throughout life. This means they have a completely different structure, consisting of an entirely different tissue, thus no bony organisation level, as well as growing in size and shape. You can see this on X-rays where the epiphyseal plate doesn't show up. This is the line where ossification is taking place. You can actually use this to accurately give the age of an individual by looking at which carpal bones are fully or only partially formed. And so we have morphological change within a single human individual. We can go even further than the bones and look at development as a whole. If Nephilim wants to insist there is no morphological difference between a single cell and Nicholas Lyndhurst, well, be my guest. But we might as well insist that Mars is green, cabbage is tasty, and Osama bin Laden is an upstanding member of society. So any feature of an organism can be said to have a morphology, be it an organ or a bone or a tissue layer, single cell or even a molecule. If you're altering its shape or what it's comprised of, then you're changing its morphology. This includes muscle mass, organ size, bone density, etc, etc, etc. We've also got morphological differences between individuals of the same species, prime example being the obvious differences between men and women. So how does this apply when we're talking about evolutionary changes? We're now into the realms of comparative anatomy. Quite simply, any change in the DNA can alter the structure of the protein it codes for. That's morphological change on a molecular level. Changes in proteins can alter how an organism grows, which in turn affects its morphology on a larger organisational level. Hey presto, we've got a monkey with a longer finger, better adapted to telling other monkeys to fuck off. Any other changes count as morphological then?
More muscle?
Oh, yes.
The biochemistry of the muscle.
Yes.
Order, kingdom, phylum, genus, species.
Oh, yes.
It's a ridiculous, childish rant.
Oh, no.
Let's take bat wings and compare them to human arms. Morphologically different? Definitely. Different shape and size? Certainly. Structurally? Well, now it gets interesting. In terms of the bones that make up the skeleton, human and bat upper limbs are the same, bar one little extra sesamoid bone acting like a kneecap in the elbow. Phalanges, metacarpals, carpals, radius ulnar, humerus, scapula, all present with the same relation to each other. The differences are in the shape of the bones involved and the differences in bony structure, bat wings being a lot less dense for lightness. It's the same story with all mammalian skeletons. You'll see the same bones in the same places relative to each other, the only differences being in the shapes of those bones and their microscopic structure. And so if Nephilim wants to keep his version of morphology, then he has to admit that rhinos share the same skeleton as a common house cat. He already admits that we can change from a wolf to either a Great Dane or a Chihuahua, but says the morphology is the same in each. So how far exactly do you have to change before you can claim these to be different animals? Oh, sorry, this one's actually a bear. Is there any morphological difference between a human and a chimpanzee, Nephilim? Remember, we want form and structure now. From Nephi's point of view, perched atop his mountain of ignorance, none whatsoever. Dogs are still dogs, humans are still monkeys then? From my lovely perspective on planet Earth, where we aren't trapped in black holes of failed logic, there are plenty of morphological differences, just small ones. Humans are not chimps, but only just. And that's the whole point with evolution. Individuals are snapshots of a long ongoing process of continuous small change where natural selection is constantly shaping and moulding morphology to better suit the whims of the environment, and it uses the existing structures as its base materials. So there we go, everyone apart from Nephi has learned something. Now I'm off to save Angel Grove!